Sunshine.
And E.
All right, what's going on? What's going on? All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
What's up with that? We are on day 3
Day number 3
of Mr. George Carlin, and who is he? The king?
Well, he's the king is going to go to George Strait. He's the king.
Oh, okay.
Especially
I'm sorry.
we did 7 days of George Strait, and the king, he owns that. But I call him the just the delivery he does. I like to call him the Captain George. I can see him a captain of a ship and telling folks what to do and telling people to walk the plank when they get out of line.
Right,
so,
right.
But this is day 3 of 7 days of George Carlin. And looking at this,
he's highly requested. Highly requested. I think he's the most requested.
Probably most requested comedian that we get. And I think the reason why is his career spanned over so many years that he's got fans from probably a lot of different generations of people. So I think that's why once we started putting a few out, people looked at it and it's like, hey, you need to check this one out. You need to check this one out. And so I think it's because his career was so long. And speaking about a long career, I'm looking at the first shot of him, and that's one thing I have noticed how different he looks from each video.
Oh yeah,
so
he's getting younger and younger.
Yeah,
it looks like
put these things in backwards or something.
I guess.
There was that movie. You got the what's it called? The effect where the guy was older and he got younger and younger. I forgot what was something. It was a weird name. Y'all could tell us what it is. It's the guy, he was older and he got younger and younger as the days go on. But Lickety Snickets or something crazy stuff.
Oh wow!
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
I have no idea.
No, maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Okay.
But let's get into George Carlin with this one, and this one is what
everyday expressions.
Everyday expressions, and I just hearing from it because those things. I'm a student of human behavior, and I watch what people say and people do, and I got this one thing that's irritating me lately that people do. Maybe we'll get into that afterwards, and maybe that has something to do with what he's going to be getting into.
I can only imagine what George is going to say about everyday expressions.
Right.
I can only imagine.
Okay, let's get into it. I want y'all to, go ahead, hit this like button right quick, turn that thumbs up to blue, and also, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you can also hit that button and share this video. So, without further ado, let's get into George Carlin's everyday expressions.
Hello, everybody. How are you? How's it going? Thank you. We have a lot of expressions in the English language that we use all the time. Most all of us use them every day, and we never seem to examine them very closely. We just say them as if they really made sense. Like, legally drunk. Well, if it's legal, what's the problem? Leave the guy alone. He's legally drunk. You know where you can stick it. You hear that, don't you? Guy says, you know where you can stick that. Well, why do we always assume everyone knows where they can stick it? Suppose you don't know. Suppose you're a new guy. You have absolutely no idea where to stick it. I think there ought to be a government booklet entitled Where to Stick It. Now that I think of it, I believe there is a booklet like that. They send it to you when you complain about your income tax. Selling like hotcakes. Well, is this the fastest selling item we could think of?
Right.
For this figure of speech? Hotcakes? Beer, cigarettes, coffee, even eggs. You go to the average place where people are ordering breakfast, you'll find a lot more people ordering eggs than are ordering hotcakes. Well, it doesn't sound right, does it? Michael Jackson's new album is selling like eggs. People won't say that. It doesn't have the right ring to it. Undisputed heavyweight champion. Well, if it's undisputed, what's all the fighting about? To me, that's the last straw. That one doesn't seem fair to me, I think you ought to warn a guy first. That's the next to the last straw. Let him know he's running out of straws. Down the pike. Boy, he was the meanest guy ever to come down the pike. Fine. What about guys who come up the pike? Not everybody lives north of the pike. Some guys come up the pike and they're really mean because nobody mentions them at all. What about a guy who don't even use the pike? Comes on Amtrak. He was the meanest guy ever to arrive on Amtrak. Doesn't have that ring. It's like eggs. Down the tubes. You hear that a lot, especially the last couple of years. People say, boy, the country is really going down the tubes. What tubes? Have you seen any tubes? Where are these tubes? And where do they go? And how come there's more than one tube? It would seem to me, one country, one tube. What, does every state all of a sudden have to have its own tube now? One tube is all you need. But a tube that big, somebody would have seen it by now. Somebody would have said, hey, Joey, look at the tube. You never hear that. You know why? No tubes. No tubes. Takes the cake. Boy, he really takes the cake. Where? Where do you take a cake? To the movies? You know where I would take a cake? Down to the bakery to see the other cakes. And how come he takes the cake? How come he don't take the pie? Pie is easier to carry than a cake. Easy as pie. Cake is not too hard to carry either. Piece of cake. Out walking the streets. You hear this when a murderer gets paroled from prison. Guy will say, now, instead of being in prison, this guy is out walking the streets. How do we know? Maybe he's home watching TV. Not every guy gets a parole, right? He's out walking the streets. Yeah. Sometimes they take a bus. Occasionally they steal a car. We ought to be glad. Thank God he stole a car. At least he's not out walking the streets. Fine and dandy. That's an old-fashioned one, you know. Say to a guy, how are you? He says, fine and dandy. Not me. I never say that. You know why? I'm never both of those things at the same time. Sometimes I'm fine, not dandy. Close to dandy, approaching dandy. In the vicinity of dandyhood. Not quite dandy. Other times, I am indeed dandy. Not fine. One time, 1965, August, for about an hour, I was both fine and dandy at the same time. Nobody asked me how I was. The Riot Act, you know? You hear that? They tell you keep telling you they're gonna read you the Riot Act. Especially when you're a kid. You wait till your father comes home, he's gonna read you the Riot Act. Tell him I read it myself. And I didn't like it either. I consider it wordy and poorly thought out. He wants to read me something. How about the big picture book of 250 sexual intercourse positions? More than happy. I'll bet you say that one. You say to somebody, oh, I'd be more than happy to do that. How can you be more than happy? To me, that sounds like a dangerous mental condition. We had to put Dave in the mental home. He was more than happy. Last one, in your own words. People say that to you all the time and say, well, tell us in your own words. Do you have your own words? I'm using the ones everybody else is using. Next time they tell you to say something in your own words, say, Nick Flat Blarney Quando Fleur.
All right, George.
He can tell you that was in his early.
Yeah. That was nice. Yeah, he probably can go on because even as he was saying some, I was thinking some of my own. But then people probably think of ones that people say that's like what, you know. And so
Right.
yeah. So that's well. See, what I was talking about was a little something different. But
I thought he was gonna be saying like expressions like you'll say. Nah, I can't even think of one. Never mind.
But there's several. Like I said, you could probably do a whole hour of routines on that because we have plenty of expression. It's just, I remember I used to listen to a show. I don't know if anybody's ever heard this show. It was on, I can't remember the station on the radio station offhand, but it was a show called Says What? Is it what? Says What? It's like a game show type thing. And one of the things they used to do is they used to do definitions and derivations, meaning they like use an expression and they tell you what the expression means and then where did it derive from, where's the origin of it. And there's a lot of, it was fun, like one offhand is Baker's dozen. Now, did you know what Baker's dozen is?
Mm-hmm. Have no idea.
Wow, really, Baker's dozen it means 13. It's instead of a dozen is 12.
Oh, but
The extra one is 13. Now that's the definition, but the derivation of it is it actually comes from where it happened to be U.S. But I think this came from Carlin, so I don't know if it's England somewhere. But the Bakers, they were having an issue with Bakers shortchanging people, and what they gave them, give me a pound of this, give them, they shortchanged them. And so they started really kind of coming down on them for doing it. So what they would do was give them more than what they, to make sure that didn't happen. And they consider that a baker's dozen, give them more than what they really purchased so they won't get in problem, get in trouble. That was weird that you would think of that. I mean, we can go through a bunch of those, but I used to watch them. It was real interesting, some of those sayings, where they actually came from and why they said them.
yeah.
But,
Wow.
all right, like I said, what's that? We're day 3, right?
This is day three.
And age-wise, he's jumping all over the map.
Well, right now he's in reverse, so we'll see what day 4
because
has.
it's funny because the first one we watched, his face was a little fuller. He had a little bushy hair, whatever. The next one is down, it was a little lower. This one is tied in a knot like a little ponytail. Or so it's weird how this is working out with the 7 days, but you never know. But I can just kind of tell how to close or something like that. You can kind of tell the era a little bit. But, so that's like I said, that's day number 3. We're going to be moving on to day number 4 next. Don't know what it's going to be. Sure, hopefully it's going to be funny. Sure, it's going to be funny. But please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get those when we drop
And
those.
share. We want
And
you to
also
share our videos with everything, with everyone you know.
Right. Share that. Hit that share button, and got all kind of ways you can share this video. And I believe that's it.
I think that is it for today. So thanks for following Sunshine and E.